Ball is fumbled, picked up by Kenneth Olabode, and he runs it in from the 6.
And Colorado has upset UCLA.
20th, and there it is! Are you kidding me?
Jumper from 15 and will knock it down. Kennedy Leonard.
Over left, there's a slip screen inside. Actually elevates and slams with the left hand. Hey, the Buffs, despite their awful free throw shooting, and I look across at Tad Boyle, let's have an enormous sigh as he walks up to midcourt and shakes hands with the Beavers head coach Wayne Tinkle. Tad, the Buffs get a win here tonight and pick up conference win number 1 on January 26th of 2017 as they win at 85-78 over the Beavers of Oregon State. Hi again, and welcome to the Buffalo Stampede. I'm Mark Johnson of KOA Radio, your play-by-play voice of the Buffs. What a weekend for Colorado and Tad Boyle and the CU men's team. They got a couple of wins, one over Oregon State last Thursday, and then knocked off number 10 Oregon right here at the Coors Event Center. Congratulations. Where's that team been, huh?
Yeah, it's better late than never, they always say. But, yeah, the month of January was rough for us. But, boy, we sure finished it off strong with 2 great victories. But, really proud of our guys for persevering through some really tough times, Mark. We said this when we were going through it. Not that we're out of the woods now. There's still a lot of basketball to be played, but this group of guys have had some really, really tough losses. That the margin has been very thin.
Well, I was going to say it too, though. I think one of the keys with what you guys have been able to do this season, even though it was not easy going 0-7, it's really easy to lose a team under those circumstances. And you and the staff and the group of seniors are kind of able to keep this thing together.
Yeah, and I credit our players because it's all. Look, college basketball is about players. College athletics is about the players. I think that's why people like college athletics so much. Mm-hmm. I mean, the coaches are certainly a part of it. There's no doubt about that. We take responsibility for, all the good and the bad. But the players are the ones that really stuck together, kept coming to practice every day, kept competing, kept their heads up and spirits up, and it's nice to see them rewarded for that.
Take us back to the Oregon State game last Thursday, 85-78. That was the one that kind of got the monkey off your back a little bit.
It was, yeah. And, I told myself after the Washington State game, I said, we need to try to shake it up a little bit here. So we shook up the starting lineup, and I thought the guys that had never started before, there was 4 of them and then Deleon Brown, who had started a couple games himself, but I thought they really responded well, and I thought our veterans who came off the bench that night really responded well. So it kind of gave us a little bit of an impetus, I think, for change, like, okay, it's time, and the players went out and finished the game. And the key for the Oregon State game, Mark, I think is, again, it was one of the typical games we've been in all year, kind of ebbing and flowing, but they cut to 72-70. And instead of wilting and letting them take the lead, and we kind of bowed our backs a little bit and got it back to a 10-point game and kind of put them away, which we needed to do.
Dan, when you do something like that, kind of alter the starting lineup and do so from an extreme standpoint like that, it's a little bit of a gamble, isn't it? Because you don't know how guys are, A, going to maybe jump out and get their first start and really respond to that, and then B, how the veterans are going to respond to that.
Absolutely. A little bit of a gamble, although I said, what's the worst we're going to be, 0-8? We're already 0-7. So, it was more of a drastic, extreme thing. You don't want to get to that point. And I'd done it one other time in my head coaching career, more from an emotional situation when I was in Northern Colorado. It was purely an emotional decision on my part. I told myself I'd never do that again. This one was more calculated, and just I felt like it just was a message. Again, not so much to the guys that were playing. It was about those guys on the bench that, hey, you guys come to practice every day, and they bust their hump, and they run the sprints, and they're on the scout team. They're good players. Here, you guys have a shot at it, and they responded, I think. And again, those guys that came off the bench against Oregon did a great job as well. So, it's about bringing the team together and kind of having that collective fight. You don't always know if it's going to work. You're right. There's certainly a gamble element to it.
And I would say this: even though you got that win, it still wasn't the kind of defensive effort against the Beavers you were looking for.
Absolutely, yeah. Our offense won that game, and we really played well. We had 18 assists, 7 turnovers. Really took care of the ball, and we scored more points than they did, but it wasn't because of our defense, and our rebounding was just okay. So, again, I think, the Oregon game was a little different animal. I know we're going to talk about that, but the Oregon State game was a great win for us because it was a breakthrough win, and it gave our guys, I think, that taste in their mouth that they hadn't had in a while.
Now, the Oregon game, the Buffs, faced a team that came in here ranked the top 10. They'd won 17 in a row, had never won, still have never won here at the Coors Event Center. And like you said, that's a little bit different animal now. And a little bit more, I think, as you kind of evaluate that one, really a good game from top to bottom in every aspect.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Oregon game is kind of like the complete package. Like, that is what Colorado basketball is all about in terms of the way we competed defensively, the way we shared the ball offensively. We just played well in every aspect of the game. We rebounded, but the effort, the energy, and the alertness, Mark, I think if there's one thing about our team against Oregon that I hadn't seen all year is just we were alert. Offensively, we were alert, making good plays for each other. Defensively, we were alert. We got our hands on a lot of balls. More deflections in that game than we've had all year long. So that was a really good sign. And again, something we need to build upon.
We've kind of become accustomed to seeing Derek White and Xavier Johnson be pretty consistent on the offensive end, making plays. It's good to see George King kind of finding a rhythm offensively.
Absolutely. We need more than Xavier and Derek. Those two guys can't do it by themselves. We need, and we mentioned Oregon, what a good win that was. What makes Oregon so good, you and I have talked about this, is they've got multiple guys, even guys coming off the bench that can go for 20 on any given night. And I think we've got that kind of team. You mentioned George King. We need to get him in the flow offensively. Dom Collier against Oregon State came in and gave us some really, really good minutes and shot the ball well. He's a very capable offensive player. So we've got a lot of guys in this team that can do damage. And it's nice to have a complete team effort, which I think both those games were.
Well, you certainly hope this is a springboard for the Buffaloes as they're on the road in the Bay Area against Stanford and Cal this week. Coach, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Tad Boyle. Hey, another guy who's come off the bench, giving the Buffs some nice minutes, Lucas Siewert, the freshman big man, is going to join us next as we continue here in the Stampede.
I've ever been as proud of a group, and I'm not sure a group of guys has deserved this win more than you guys have. Okay, so guys, we own the 29% the second. That's how good we can be, and that's a damn good team we beat. Damn good team, guys. I said this after every one of our losses. Okay, we can beat anybody in this league. Okay, we can beat anybody in this league if we put our minds to it, we focus, we do it together. Bench, you were great. Okay, we were together, we played hard, we competed for 40 minutes, and we guarded. And that's what happens, okay? Guys, I said we can get on a roll, we can get on a roll. We can get on a roll. We're halfway through the conference season. That first half is in the rearview mirror. We're going forward. We got 9 games left. Guys, there's not a one we can't win. Not a one we can't win, all right? Guys, I'm really, really proud of you. As a group, I really am. I'm really, really proud. Now, guys, this is one game. Okay, it's one game. Just like it's one loss, this is one win. We don't get too high, too full of ourselves. Okay, we go to Stanford and Cal this week. We will have you ready. You got to get yourselves ready, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, whatever you got to do. That's it.
Well, that was a celebration here at the Coors Event Center on Saturday night after the Buffaloes knocked off number 10 Oregon. This guy had a pretty good part in that ball game, and the one before that, in fact, as the Buffs have won 2 in a row, wins of Oregon State and Oregon. That had to be a lot of fun, though, after that victory against the Ducks.
Yeah, when we came to the locker room, it was a lot of energy. Everybody was pretty excited about it, the coaches, the players, so we definitely needed that win. It gave us a lot of confidence for our next upcoming game, so that was great.
A little relief, with those last 2 ball games. As talented as this team is, it was a little perplexing that you guys were sitting at 0-7 in conference play. Is a little bit of relief kind of getting a couple of wins like that?
Definitely was, because we lost, I want to say 4 games with like 2.
By 7 points total?
Yeah, like in 3-point range, so that was definitely frustrating, but those 2 wins were definitely a relief for us.
How was it getting your first career start against Oregon State last Thursday? A little nerve-wracking?
A little bit. I wasn't expecting it when coaches called us after practice and told us. I was pretty excited, but we've been working for it, so we're definitely ready for it. So,
Lucas, how's this transition been for you coming to college basketball? Obviously for big guys, I've always thought, all my decades of doing college basketball, for big guys, it's a huge physical transition to learn how to play at this level. Have you found that to be the case?
Yeah. When I was in high school, I was always the biggest player on the court, so I didn't have that much of an issue. But when coming in here, we play against people that are like 4 or 5 years older than you. So they're definitely more physical, more experienced. So, but I try to look up to people in practice too. So they can help me out during the games and stuff like that.
You seem like you've been playing more physical. Has the switch kind of gone on for you that, oh, okay, I've got to be this way. I can't just come out here and play with finesse?
Yeah, definitely. That's something that coach and been talking about it to me. And something that I know that I'll have to work on it as well. So during the summer, I worked on my body. So when it's game time, I'm ready for it.
You know, folks know that you're from Brazil, but you didn't come straight from Brazil here to Colorado. You were 4 years in Los Angeles playing high school ball.
I went to Los Angeles for 3.5 years.
Okay.
I got there in my second semester, my freshman year.
All right.
But, yeah.
So you're kind of used to being away from home, and so that part of the transition wasn't so tough on you?
No, I didn't. Most people say, oh, I want to go to college close to home, but that wasn't like an issue for me because I was already away from home. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right. You miss the family?
Oh, yeah, I do. It's been a while since I went back.
When's the last time you got back to Brazil?
Easter 2016, so in April.
All right.
It's about to be a year now.
Weather's a little different here in Colorado, isn't it?
Yeah. It was my first time seeing the snow.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you tried skiing yet?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not
Do you
yet.
plan on it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do, but maybe after season sometime.
6'10" on skis. That ought to be kind of interesting. Well, what do you think? Can this be a little bit of a springboard for the Buffaloes now, getting a couple of wins like that, where you guys are playing to your potential?
Yeah, that win showed us how good we can be. So that definitely is, got our confidence up going to this upcoming game. So we just got to keep it up.
Why has it been so tough for this team to play to its potential in the defensive end? I mean, you forced 16 turnovers the other night against Oregon. The Buffs were one of the worst teams in America in forcing turnovers. You played against one of the better offensive teams in America. Why has it been so tough for this team to find that offensive edge?
That's something that we've been talking a lot about, which is consistency. And I think that's an issue for this team, that we are not consistent enough. But when we do the things that we're supposed to do, we can be really good.
What do you look up to in this team? Who do you learn from?
Well, in my position, I look up to Torrey and Wes. What they do in the court, what is working. I try to do what's not working. I try to stay away from. But there are definitely some people that I look up to.
Any of the guards? I mean, who's the best leader? Who's the guy on this team that kind of leads this squad, do you think?
I would say XJ and Derek White. Derek is more quiet guy, but he leads the team by example, I would say.
Sure.
Not like Ward, but those are the guys they're the leaders on this team.
All right, give us a quick thought. Buffalo's on the road this week. You go to Stanford and Cal, winnable ball games, but you know it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, there's definitely winnable games. I think we can beat anybody on this league right now. The last that's left on our schedule, but we just got to go with a tough mindset and get the W.
All right. You've been playing some good ball. Keep up the good work.
Yep.
All right. That's freshman Lucas Siewert joining us. Buffalo's on Thursday night at Stanford, and then on Super Bowl Sunday, in fact, they play in Berkeley against the Cal Bears. We're going to take a quick time out here in the Stampede. We'll talk women's basketball. The CU women split with Utah last week. The head coach, JR Payne, joins us next.
Welcome to the court, your Colorado Buffaloes.
By Ellis, grabbed by Robinson, ahead to Leonard. Down low to Ellis, front of the floor. Head fake, goes up and lays it in.
Welcome back to the Buffalo Stampede. I'm Mark Johnson, joined now by CU women's coach JR Payne. The Buffs go 1-1 last week. They had that strange home and home. It's kind of a split doubleheader, if you will, with the Utes. One at home and one on the road. You got the win at home, though. That was a nice ball game for the Buffaloes.
We did, and it was a much-needed win. You know, we dropped a few and had really, I think, been working hard and had a good week of practice, and having your rival come into course was great.
Buffaloes win that one 54-49, snap a 5-game losing streak. Your defense was very good in that ball game, wasn't it?
It was good, yeah. You know, you look at the score and you think, oh, that wasn't the best game to watch, but our defense was phenomenal. Our rebounding was phenomenal, and we scored enough to win, so we were happy.
Buffaloes did not shoot the ball well in that ball game.
No.
So as good as the defense was, you needed that because offense wasn't really quite
True,
well.
yeah. I mean, I joked with someone saying I think we set women's basketball back a few years because no one could score the ball. But the defense, it was outstanding. We turned them over, we rebounded, we held them to one shot, and scored enough, like I said, to win the game.
You know, Jay, that's a good learning, I think, point for a coach with a team, though? Because, you can always say that O-line defense always travels, or whatever game you're in.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And that's honestly been our strength all year, is turning people over, getting stops, creating offense with our defense.
What was the Buffs doing well defensively? I mean, is this a team that I think is a good helping team and plays the lanes, has active hands, that kind of thing?
Yeah, we do. We have a couple different defenses that we run. Our zone is significantly more active than our man. That's where we typically turn people over, is in our zone defense. High hands, really active, aggressive angles, and that always kickstarts our offense.
Which is interesting because a lot of times you don't think, I know from an offensive perspective, when you face a zone, you don't always think of high turnover numbers.
I know. Yeah, ours is different. We definitely play. And in our man, we're a little bit more contain and contest, especially against Utah. They didn't shoot the ball very well from the perimeter, so we were definitely backed off a little bit more. But in our zone, we try to get after you in our zone.
Kennedy Leonard had 24 in that ball game, but she was huge down the stretch, wasn't she?
She was. I think she scored 11 straight or 9 straight or something down the stretch of that game. And big free throws. She hadn't shot particularly well from the free throw line until the fourth quarter and just was money down the stretch.
Bri Watts, who we're going to talk to a little later on here in the program, had a nice ball game at Utah.
She did, yeah. Bri, we've been telling Bri since day one, she's one of our best inside presence players. She's probably one of our highest IQ players. She's our best passer inside, and just needed, she hasn't had a lot of game experience in her career, and so we needed her to, and we do need and continue to need her to be able to give us those things inside.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. She's got the family history there at Utah. But give us a quick comment. Didn't go the Buffs' way when he went to Salt Lake City on Saturday, but quick comment about that.
Well, the biggest thing I thought, again, it was a low-scoring affair. Both teams defended pretty well. We got beat on the glass. We got out-rebounded by 10, which is how we had done to them several days earlier. They had a lot of second-chance points, missed free throws down. I mean, I could probably list a dozen things that if we had just done this differently, the outcome could have been different. But we just need to learn from it and bounce back this week.
The challenges of having that short turnaround like that, like I joked, it was a split doubleheader. You had 2 days in between a practice day, then a travel. What are the challenges of playing somebody that closely together?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is kind of the mind game. Like, you had success early on, so what are you going to do differently? If you're going to do anything differently, do you just continue to do what worked before? Do you try to anticipate their changes? And we really just took the mindset of, this is what worked, this is what didn't work, so do what worked and stay away from what didn't. And then really the defense flip-flopped completely in the second game, and I think that was the kind of the main reason the outcome changed.
Buffalo's down the stretch of the season. I got a couple of home games this week, very challenging games. Washington State on Friday. I want to talk about what's surrounding that game here shortly. And then, of course, one of the better teams in the country coming in over the weekend with Washington, which was in the Final Four last year.
Right, yeah, and they return everybody from that team. They have the nation's leading scorer in Kelsey Plum, and she's 40 a game almost, pretty consistently. I think she's averaging 30, but, she had 45 last night, and just crazy numbers. Shoots the ball, it's a strong attack. She does everything you want in a player. And then Washington State has dropped a couple, but then they had a big win against, I think, Cal yesterday. So also 2 really good teams.
Surrounding that ball game on Friday night, that's a 6 o'clock game between the Buffs and the Cougars here. It's the cancer awareness game, the KL cancer awareness game, and there's a Buff connection with that organization.
Yeah. Shelly Sheets, who's probably one of the best players to ever wear a Buff uniform, is a prominent figure in the KL Foundation. Works really hard. It's very near and dear to her heart, and we're really proud of her efforts on all of our behalf with KL.
And I know there's the first 250 fans that come get a pink CU shirt. You're supposed to wear your pink for that.
Yeah, everybody wear pink, men and women.
And between 5 and 6, by the way, for kids, there's activities around the concourse here at the Coors Event Center. So a lot of fun here that night. Good luck to the Buffaloes. Good luck to you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
All right, Washington State on Friday night, and then Washington over the weekend. As we continue, we'll continue our conversation about women's basketball. Bri Watts will join us next here in the Stampede. Busy weekend for the Buffs, and you can follow all of it by checking out the media schedule at cubuffs.com. The men's basketball team hits the road to face the Stanford Cardinal Thursday night. That game will be broadcast live on the Pac-12 Network and the Colorado Basketball Network. The women are at home this weekend against the Washington schools, starting with Washington State on Friday night at 6 p.m. on the Pac-12 Network. Both teams are in action on Sunday. The women tip off against number 7 Washington live on the Pac-12 Network. And finally, the men are at Cal starting at 2:30 Mountain Time. You can catch that game on ESPNU and the Colorado Basketball Network. As always, you can check out cubuffs.com for all upcoming games and where you can watch them. Welcome back to the Stampede. Again, I'm Mark Johnson of KOA Radio. Bri Watts joining us, a senior for the Colorado women's basketball team out of Fresno, California. Buffs get that odd home with Utah last week. That's kind of an odd deal, isn't it?
Right.
Playing the same team, and you have 2 days in between.
Literally. So we practiced on Tuesday, prepared for them Tuesday, Wednesday, Tuesday. Played
and
on
then
Wednesday.
Played on Wednesday.
Right.
Had to practice Thursday.
Traveled
Friday. Played on Saturday.
I guess the scouting report, the second bowl game, was probably pretty easy, though.
Yeah, same exact scout.
That's right. You got a win the first time.
Right.
Did not get a win then on Saturday.
Right.
Dropped that one in Salt Lake City to the Utes. What happened with that one?
I think our defense was a little rough. I think it got a little rough with like the rebounding. They came to rebound that game. The first game we beat them, but then the second game it got a little rough. Then Potter came to play.
Right.
So that was a big difference for them. They had a lot of points for the offense, just being able to get through and dominate us on different ways that they didn't on Wednesday.
So the Buffs go 1-1 against the Utes, and really it was a second half issue that one in Salt Lake City, and that's been a little bit of an issue for the Buffaloes now. They had runs of 16-0 and 10-0 in the second half of that ball game.
Right. Our second half we got to pick it up in the second half. I think our energy is great in the first half, and then the second half, I don't know what, like in our minds, just doesn't continue.
Right.
But I think we're going to do much better in this second half of the season.
Bri had 8 points in 22 minutes against the Utes in that second ball game. You got a little history with Utah.
Yeah, my dad, my brother, they both went there, so.
Dad was on Rick Majerus' 1991 Sweet 16 team.
Right.
You got some athleticism in the family.
I'm trying to follow in the steps. I mean, it's a little hard because Dad was, he was up there.
Sure.
Brother was up there too. So, but it's fun being behind those two.
So is there something about, like I said, he had 8 points in 22 minutes again, something about maybe a little extra motivation when you go play the Utes?
A little bit. It's like my dad played in that same gym, so it's like, gotta look. No, I'm just kidding. But it was just fun being able to play in the same environment that my dad had played in.
Yeah.
So.
Was Dad cheering for you, or was he cheering for the Utes for that ball game?
I'm sure he's always cheering for me.
Without question. You're a little girl all the time, right? Did you ever give any thought or consideration to going to Utah, or were you always going to be a Buff?
I had only one-on-one trip, and it was here. So, obviously, it's just pure Buff all the way. But I guess my dad had a little push for the Utes.
All right.
But no.
Hey,
not gonna.
You're not going to turn down Colorado and Boulder, Colorado, are you?
Right.
Not a chance.
Right.
Hey, the way the season has gone, the Buffaloes started out very well, ranked in the top 15 in the country. Conference play got underway, and we've talked many times here on the show about how good it is. The hands down the best women's basketball conference in America.
Right.
So you guys are starting to find some traction though here as of late after a slow start, aren't you?
Yes, we are. But being like the coaches have talked about, we had a great preseason. So right now we're just having a little struggle. But I think going into the second half of the Pac-12 is going to be different.
Being a senior, is there a little bit of thought in the back of your head? Hey, it's almost over.
Not yet.
No?
But it's
Thanks for reminding me, Mark. Thank
right,
you.
Thank you. But it's getting there. I'm like going into my last semester of classes, and I'm like, wow, this is it.
All right. Well, good luck this week against Washington State and Washington.
Thank you
Keep
so
up the good
much.
work.
Thanks.
That's Bri Watts. She and the CU women have got Washington State and Washington this week. Of course, the men are on the road against Stanford and Cal. We'll talk to you next week here in the Stampede.